moms dream of turning their kids into celebrities and growing their little family hobby into a business. However, not too many realize how much work it actually takes. Today I'm talking to Bonnie Van Giel, a multi-talented pro who is blending the skills of a photographer, a stylist, a set designer, and a retoucher to turn the life of her 9-year-old daughter into a continuous fashion fairy tale. When you look at her images, you'd never guess that they were taken by just one person, not a whole team. No wonder why Bonnie and Little Pepper started attracting attention of high-fashion kids brands early on, and today successfully collaborate with many of them. I'm Dasha Pears, and you are listening to my Inspiration in Action podcast. I hope you enjoy and learn from this interview with an amazing mom who's known as Pepper Pigs on Instagram.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
So nice to see you.
Yes,
Thank you
too.
for joining me today.
Yes.
I found you, I think, I don't know, maybe over a year ago, and I was really fascinated by all your content, though I'm also a mom and also a photographer, but I haven't worked with my kids that much. How is this experience going? And maybe first of all, tell us just a little bit about how it all started, because I'm sure that not everyone who's watching us right now know like the beginning of the story.
No. I'm a graphic designer. That's my profession. I'm working freelance, and when Pepper was born, I always have this interest in photography and fashion. And when Pepper was born, I slightly changed my own fashion, my interest in it, not that it's gone, but to her. And I just, and then I was asked to do a weekly blog for a child fashion blog here in the Netherlands.
Oh, okay.
And I used to, I did that weekly. And she was only 4 years old, so it was just putting an outfit on her and putting her in front of a white wall and taking pictures with my iPhone. So nothing big. It was just the plain white background. And then slowly on, it started to, I was noticed for, I think it was mainly because of the styling at first. And then afterwards, I wanted to make my pictures different than all the other blogs and what they had. So I thought, okay, I know how to work with Photoshop and do special things with pictures. So I thought, okay, it will be nice to have it all combined and make it more special. So slowly it was, it was around 5 years ago when I started. So it's it changed a lot. It's if you look at pictures, if you scroll down my feed, it looks completely different than what it is now.
Okay.
But I was especially because you last night you posted the picture with the fine art, and it was really what I'm gaining at, to have it more like a fine art, not only for styling and not only for kids fashion. I want to inspire, of course, but also make a nice picture, make the whole picture complete. So that's
that's
what
really
I'm doing now.
That's really interesting. I mean, this is what I find interesting in your images, that they sort of in between, well, of course, child photography and also fine art and fashion, and they kind of remind me of like Team Walker for kids. Who are your inspirations in photography?
You are.
Yeah,
it's mainly accounts like you that really inspire me. And I'm always, because I'm not a photographer, I don't know all the details in photography. I'm just doing what I think, is best. I don't work with studio lightings and everything. It's just me and my camera and Pepper. And so it's more, I'm always fascinated by photographers first who really know how to work with light and everything. So it's mainly on Instagram itself to like your account. That those
Mm-hmm.
are the ones that really inspire me, and also the fine art, and not only photography but more the fine art itself.
Okay, okay. Of course, the Netherlands has like a huge history of amazing fine art, and of course, it should influence you.
Yeah,
And I think I just recently visited Amsterdam, and of course, I was fascinated by all the museums, and the Dutch art of Golden Age was my huge inspiration for a long, long time. And I think that there is a very interesting photography scene in the Netherlands right now. And so probably you're also kind of like an extension of that.
yeah.
It's interesting that you say that you're not a photographer, because of course you are a photographer. You probably started not as a photographer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You didn't have like a formal training as a
No,
photographer, but of course you are, and you have a lot of years of experience right now. So
yeah, that's
yeah,
true. But I still have a lot to learn. So that's
yeah,
more what I want
yeah.
to
I
say.
think it's really important not to ever stop learning,
Yeah,
because
that's true. Never stop developing yourself, and that's also what where I'm working at right now, going more into that fine art direction, and not only on styling and children's fashion.
okay. And so what are the areas you think you need to learn at right now? Is it the craft of photography? Is it more, I don't know, the style, the fine art styling part? What is it for you? Like, what
Um,
right
I think all of it. I think I need to develop in every aspect of it, but it's mainly in photography, because now I'm always I can't take a picture and just post it. It needs a lot of editing. So maybe if I learn more with lightning and working with that, it would be easier to have the perfect picture and then start editing. So that's more. I think that's the main thing I really need to learn, but it's something I'm working on. So
yeah, of course. Yeah. Have you ever worked with other children?
yes, I have, but it's different. You can't compare it. It's I have one girl. It's Pepper's friend, and I can work with her pretty well. But other children are. It's so different, because Pepper knows what I want, what I expect from her, and it's not that I expect a lot, but she knows what I want, and I know what she can give me. So if she can move, or we have this feeling together. And I did work with other children, mainly for brands. They asked for me to do their photography, and I really like it, but it's completely different. It's more like taking pictures of children, but it's not the whole editing and making those special pictures. It's really completely different. It's more taking the pictures, and and that's it.
Yeah.
So,
And is it always easy to work with Pepper?
not
Or
always, of course. No, it's a child, and she's only 9, so she also has bad days, and she doesn't want to. She wants to play, and then I say, "Okay, Pepper, we're gonna take a picture," and then she's like, "Oh no, I don't want to." And it's always, if she's tired, then I can do what I want, but then it doesn't work. So if she's really tired, then I shouldn't try it even, because it's terrible. But I narrow it down to 1 or 2 times a week for about an hour or something, and then for me it's all the rest of the work. It's without her. So she's a child. So
does she ever come up with her own ideas?
yes, she does. She does. They're not always the best ideas, but she does. And she says, "Mom, maybe I can stand like this, or move like this, or maybe I can wear this together with this." So she's more involved nowadays.
Yes, I remember having the same experience shooting my daughter for a brand as well. And we first had to do all of her ideas, of course.
Oh yeah.
And then we got to mine.
Yeah.
Because otherwise she refused, like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I always do it as well because she really wants to, and she thinks it's a brilliant idea. So I will take a picture. But yeah, they're not the best ideas. But she's learning. She's already a lot better than where she was. So she's more involved, and that's really the difference between now. She just turned 9, and now she's really involved, and she can. You can ask her to do things. When she was 4, I couldn't ask her to stand like this or this, and now it's okay, Pepper, just hold your hand up here or sit like this, and so it's getting a lot easier.
And is she now with any child modeling agency?
She is with Sugar Kids in Spain, and but it's mostly with me that she does. Yeah.
But has she ever worked with other photographers?
Yeah, she has.
How does she feel about that?
She loves it. She really likes it. Yeah, because it's different, and then it's the whole studio and the lighting and all those people, and somebody is doing her hair and somebody is doing her makeup. So that's really special. So she often says to me, "Okay, mommy, I want to have more people in the room, and then I can do it better." She wants to have an audience.
Okay, so you work alone all the time when you shoot with her. Okay, so you do like all the hair, the makeup, and that's you're amazing. Seriously.
Yeah.
Because I know what it is.
Yeah.
It demands a whole team.
Yeah.
To get those images. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So you shoot in your home studio, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And sometimes I wish I had somebody who could help me with things, because you need to hold something, and then I first have to take a picture of Pepper, and then I need to take a picture of the thing that Pepper is holding, because otherwise it doesn't work. And then combine it together. So sometimes I wish I had a team around me as well, but
maybe that's the goal for the future as well.
Yeah, that's true.
How did the collaboration with brands started for you?
It was because of the blog, and then I from the blog I got some things for an outfit for Pepper, and I used to do it like that, and then a brand started to contact me itself, asking if I would work with them. So and it was, I think it was started because I quit blogging when Pepper was 6, I think, or 5.5, and then and afterwards it was just that brands contacted me itself. So and still a lot of brands I'm working with, and new brands and old brands that I've been working with for many years now.
But was it like they started approaching you themselves, or were you reaching out to them first?
No, no, they contacted me themselves.
Okay. And how do you curate that now? Do you only work with those who you find interesting, or how is it organized for you?
Yes, who I find is interesting. Um, but it's also that I don't have to like the whole collection, of course. So
Mhm.
I always look at the whole collection and then think, okay, I can work with this piece or this piece, and already start think about the whole styling idea. And so it's not. I can work with a lot of brands. I can, yeah.
Mhm.
There's always, almost always
Mhm.
something that I like. Some brands who are not, or it's
Mhm.
also some brands that are in conflict with other brands that I'm already working with.
Okay.
That's also because then you get a request from a brand that looks similar to another brand, and then I say, okay, no, thank you, because I
I
already work with them.
okay.
So that also happens.
Mm-hmm. And now, when you work, when you work, well, do you do it full time now for working with Pepper, or do you still do some like
I
freelancing?
Yes, I still do my graphic design work. It's
Mm-hmm.
also yeah, it's half half. I think it's 50-50.
Okay. Is there any dream brands that you would like to work with, but you haven't yet? What are your thoughts?
Um, um, yes, I have some, um, but it's yeah. I have a few that
For-
I'm. I would love to work with La Quixote de Paris. That's a
Mhm.
Dutch brand, and
Okay.
yeah, they're more focused on teens. So
Mm.
Pepper is, I think, a little bit young for
Mhm.
them
Okay.
still,
Okay.
but I really love that brand. So maybe in a year or something, she can do something with them.
Mm-hmm.
And there are more. I don't know really some examples, but yeah, there are so many children's brands, and also the big ones. I would love, of course, I would love to work with the bigger
Mm-hmm.
ones as well,
No,
because
maybe
now
the,
they're.
mhm. Maybe there's something just really like the favorite brand that you have always dreamed to work with.
And not, yeah, it used to be my favorite brand was always Bobby Chose, but
Mm.
now it still is one of my favorite brands. And I've never worked with them. I work with their clothes, but it's mainly because I buy them myself or I
Oh.
get them from shops. I
Mm-hmm.
also work with shops, and I used to, yeah, I wanted to work with them, yeah, so bad. But now I think Pepper is outgrowing them a little bit. They're more for, I think, for little
Mm-hmm.
children. 9, it's still okay, but maybe in next couple of years, it's getting less. I really love the animals observatories.
Mm-hmm.
That's also one of my favorite brands, but they are also working with their own. They have their own, a lot of their own imageries, and also work, I think, with their own influencers. So I've never worked with them really. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
also something I would love
Yeah.
to.
Could you please repeat the name of the Dutch brand that you wanted to work with, the big one?
La Quixote de Paris.
Okay. That's if you maybe you could type it in the command. What do you think?
I'll do it.
Yeah, meanwhile, my next question would be, how do you get ready for your shoots? Do you make any sketches, or how do you come up with those ideas? Do you, like, for example, I have like an idea storage. Um, do you use something like that? Or
I have a lot of um, uh, images on my computer, on my phone that I really love. There are an inspiration that I found everywhere. It can be on Instagram itself, on Pinterest, in a magazine, or what I see, and I take pictures of it. So I have this whole folder, and it also says inspiration. And then I start to, if I have an item or an whole outfit, then I start to think, okay, what can I do with this outfit to have it in a complete picture. But it mainly starts with the whole picture in my head, and then I think it's not that I'm really sketching. It's more that I look at pictures and then I have this picture in my head. And sometimes I'm already looking for, because you take a lot of pictures of the things that are really in the picture. But I think that really needs a team to work with, to have the whole the whole setting together. So I'm also working a lot with stock imagery. So I also browse a lot through stock imagery and look for things I can work with, and then combine everything. So the outfit and the whole styling and the background I want to use, and so that's but it mainly happens in my head.
Okay, because of course it makes sense. Maybe because you don't have to explain everything to the whole team, then you just do.
If I had to, then I think I would work more with a mood board and make more everything together, so it's more clear for everybody how it's gonna look like. But now it's I can show Pepper what I want for her to post, and for the rest it's what I want. So what I have in my head. So I don't really need to explain it. And I write things down as well.
Yeah, that's good. When you work with a brand, do you also kind of work with their philosophy? Because every child's brand, like every fashion brand, has their own philosophy. I think they're like, maybe they also come up with with concepts for their next collection. Do you work with that somehow? You try to support that, or you
no,
something completely different?
I always try to do something different, because they ask me to do the picture, and if I would make the same pictures or what it fitted in their thing, then it's more, for me, it's more not being creative, but it's more going in their direction. And I think that's also the reason why they ask me, because I do something different. And I ask them if I have contacted with them. I always ask them, do you want something special? Do you have something in your head, or can I be completely free? Am I free, and can I be creative myself? And most of the times it's just, I think it's happened for maybe 1 or 2 times that they really ask for something, but most of the times it's just be creative yourself and do whatever you want. So and that's really something I want to do, because then it's really my own thing, and you can see the whole outfit in a different setting than what happens normally.
And do they use the pictures themselves after that? Like, do you send them the pictures so that they can maybe use them in, I don't know, their social media, print, or
yeah. I always say, okay, you can get the high-res imagery, and you can do whatever, you use it in whatever you want. So sometimes they put it on their website as well. Yeah, and also, yeah, of course, social media. I get reposted a lot, so yeah, they are free to do what they want.
And like a very detailed question, because I'm really interested in this. What format do you shoot? Is it vertical, horizontal, square, for the brands to use it afterwards as well?
I almost almost all the time I shoot vertical. I don't really know why. It's for me. It's more. I think it's because Pepper is. If she's standing, then it's more. The image is already more vertical. And if you have it horizontal, then it's more empty space, and you have a lot to fill. But of course, if they want to use it in a banner for their website, then it has to be horizontal. So it's I have to adjust it, or but that's also something we discuss what they want. But mainly, if I shoot, it's almost all the time it's vertical. Yeah, I almost never hold my camera like this. I always shoot like this.
Yeah, this is a very tricky thing for me, because when I started shooting, when I was just starting out at the very beginning, I was always shooting vertical. And then people around me were saying, like, no one uses vertical. Why do you do this? So I trained myself to shoot always horizontally. And then when I started fine art, I thought, like, oh, maybe the square format is the best. So all of my fine art images are shot in square. And for this, I usually do shoot horizontally, and then I just cut off the edges.
Okay, yeah, that's what I do with the vertical, and then cut off the top parts.
Yeah, and now when I start working with fashion brands more, they need the vertical format, because it's usually what's used in magazines and lookbooks and everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking.
You change it, yeah.
So, and it's always good to know what the brand needs, I think, in the very beginning, of course, so that you can adjust from the not in post-processing, but right away when you're shooting.
Yeah. And that's also, if I'm working on an editorial for a magazine, then they often say, okay, we want, it's mainly, it's vertical, because of the page, but they also want to use one or two spreads. So I know that, okay, one or two pictures have to be horizontal. So then I already know, and then I shoot like that.
Yeah. And have you worked on whole editorial for magazines with Pepper, with just Pepper, or?
Yeah, with just Pepper. Yeah.
Which magazines? I didn't know about that.
For Mini Maven magazine, it's an American fashion magazine for kids. And I was just contacted yesterday. I think it was for another magazine, but it's not final yet, so I can't give you the details yet. But it's and I really like that, because then you get exposed to another audience, and your own print. So that's also
definitely
different than just on social media.
Since you are thinking of getting into fine art, would you consider making prints as well of your work and exhibiting them, or?
I often, people often say that to me, oh, you should print it. And for now, I think I'm not ready yet, because I don't think I'm there yet with the whole, in details and everything. But that's also something I would love to do one day. And do you print your?
Well, I do. Yeah, not that often, but for certain exhibitions, yes, I do. And it's a whole different world, and I'm still exploring it because you need to understand what kind of paper to use,
Yeah.
what kind of printer like of photo lab you would use for printing. It's really, for me, it's still complicated, and I still need to explore more
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
So
I also think the picture looks so different in print than it does on your screen. It's And I often think, okay, I want to have this picture like this on print, but it really depends on what paper, and if it's glossy paper or matte.
yeah,
It's yeah. So
yeah.
it's
And then when you have your image printed in a magazine, it's a whole different feeling. And the
yeah.
thing is that the colors are always like wrong.
Yeah, yeah. They're not that bright anymore, and the whites get not that white anymore. So it's yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. So, what would be your sort of long-term plans or goals? Like, where do you see yourself and Pepper in 5 years?
That's a good one. It really also really depends on what Pepper wants.
Mm.
Because she can say in a year or something, okay, I don't want to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I also don't know really what I want.
But would you like to continue to work with other kids, maybe as a child fashion photographer?
Um, I'm not sure if because now it was because of Pepper being this age or being a child that I got into children's fashion. But it would be also great, I think, at one point to work with adults to, yeah, like you are with. I think it's a lot easier to work with than with children.
Yes. Yes.
So it of course it's different because in children's fashion you can, yeah, it's not really different, but in children's fashion you can be really, it can be crazy, it can be
Yes, imagine like it's a non-stop fairy tale,
yes,
like
yes, yes,
ongoing.
yeah. And with adults fashion or women's fashion, that's different. But you also create a lot of, yeah, more like fancy, or not really fancy, but more different pictures than what you see in a normal magazine. So it still can. And so maybe that's also my direction to go to. But maybe Pepper says, okay, I want to continue this, and we are still working together in 10 years. I don't know. So that's,
Yeah, that would be interesting, and
yeah,
that would be also interesting for her, I think, to
yeah,
look at all of it in
yeah,
10 years. I'm like, oh.
yeah. And how we have grown together in this, all of this. And
Yes.
then see also, because the brands change, of course. It's already
Mm-hmm.
happening now, because a lot of brands go till 8 years, and she already has size 10. So brands are also already changing. So that will be even more. Then eventually she would go into teen fashion, and afterwards in more adult fashion. So, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
something.
A very tricky question, maybe. Was there a situation where she refused to wear something? Like, I don't like this skirt. I will never wear it.
No,
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 she was
no.
always
Pepper
like,
wears really anything, and also at school, or because she has so many clothes, but she also has a lot of different clothes than what you see on children. So yes, she is really known as the the girl who dresses different. Um, but she wears really anything.
Mm-hmm.
You can put she's also really lazy, because if in the morning she says, okay mom, what I'm gonna wear, and she doesn't pick her own clothes. She's already 9, but she doesn't. She likes everything.
Okay,
So
okay.
that's really easy for me.
It is very easy because I had several situations when we are shooting for like a commercial brand and we have a child model who is a professional model, but she's like, no, I'm not
Oh
wearing
really?
yes.
You
So,
have to.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
there can be very different situations like that. Do you have any tips on how to shoot kids? Maybe how do you persuade Pepper when she is not that willing to, but you still need to shoot something?
Yeah, with Pepper it's different, because to her I can really say, okay, Pepper, come on,
No.
yeah, you have to do this. Um, yeah, with her I can do a lot of things, but or say a lot of things, but with other children, it's difficult. If they don't want to, then it's I can try everything, but it's you can't say to a child you don't really know, okay, you have to do this, or you have to stand like this. That's more
Yeah. That's really interesting because this is exactly why I don't work with my kids, because when I don't get the necessary emotion from them, I will start like, do this.
yeah.
And I don't want them to become like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
with someone else's kids, I'm perfectly like the kindest photographer ever. I will do.
you have a lot more patience than with your
Yes.
own kids. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
true. That's true. If Pepper
interesting.
would refuse, I would say, okay, no, you have to, and yeah, be very strict. And with other children, it's that's different.
Yeah, yeah, that's a bit different. That's really interesting how it works. And how does Pepper react to being sort of a famous, popular? Does she feel it anyhow, or?
Uh, yes, she does, because she hears a lot of times. She hears, yeah, people say things to her, but it was it wasn't really that much. Yeah, she didn't really know it, but then we went to Playtime Paris. It was a few years ago, and then because if she's here, a lot of people know that she's on a picture, but or on Instagram, and she has a lot of followers, but it's not really a big thing. So, but then we were there, and then she noticed that everybody knew her. We were walking through some stands, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, it's Pepper!" So after that, she was really like, "Oh my God, they know me, and I'm famous." So now it's more, and it's also when she joins. Last year, she was doing a musical lessons, and children over there, they knew her from Instagram. I don't know how, but maybe because of their moms, or I don't know. And they knew her, and she said something, I'm a model. So he loves to say, I'm a model. And so now it's more like, okay, people know me because I'm doing this, but I always say, okay, Pepper, don't say it that much, because it might also be that children think, okay, I don't like her because she's always bragging about that she's a model, or so she knows it. She has to be a little bit
Careful.
yeah, careful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but really interesting. And it would be very exciting to see where it goes in, like, let's say 3-5 years. That would be really interesting.
Yes, for me too.
Yeah, my daughter is 8, turns 8 tomorrow, so it's
Oh
kind of the same age.
really? Oh
I
yes.
can, yeah, my oldest daughter. So it's sort of the same.
You know what stage they're in, and yeah, oh, that's nice.
Yes. Thank you so much for your time. It was such a
Thank
pleasure
you for
talking to
inviting
you.
me.
Yes, this interview will be available on my account for 24 hours. And guys who are watching us right now, we have some time for questions. Maybe you can send them if you have them. So that's the good time. My last question to you would be, what makes a good photograph in your opinion?
The whole thing together. It's I'm really focused on details. The details have to be good. So it yeah, details in outfit, in surrounding background, also hair. That's my favorite thing of your job. So that's yeah, it's more really into details, and the whole picture, it has to work. It doesn't have to stand alone. It's not that you have the model and you have the background. It has to be combined together to
like all the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We have a question.
Yeah.
What's your most favorite thing in this whole in this job?
In this job, that's a question I get a lot. I always think it's really hard to answer because I really like a lot of aspects. I really love to do the styling, the whole thinking about what I want and to do to make to have the styling together with the background, but also the editing. I think the part that I is my least favorite is the photography itself. The whole thing around it, it's my favorite part, and then where it really happens, that's my, and that's, I think it's mainly because that's the part that I'm not so secure of. It's that's the thing I need to work on the most.
Okay, we have another question. Do you have any good editing tricks from Make My Heyday, favorite presets and so on? And what do you use for editing? Lightroom, Photoshop?
Photoshop. Yeah, I always work with Photoshop. I think it's the best. I don't ever work with presets. I work with raw images, and then the balancing all the things, and then starting editing. It differs. Every picture is different. Some pictures have 2 layers and others have 20 layers. So it's
Do you edit pepper space ever?
A little bit. It's
like
more like it's more like if we sometimes it looks better because it's also, if you have it on a big screen, it doesn't necessarily have to, but if you have it small, then you can't see the details pretty well, so it blends a little bit, I always think. So I sometimes work with more like making her cheeks softer or things like that, but I never do anything with big editing on her expressions or no.
Okay. Great to know about that. And I think that well, from my experience, mostly people who come from design area, they work just in Photoshop and they don't touch Lightroom, for example.
Yeah.
And
if you're a photographer, you work with Lightroom.
Yeah, Lightroom is
Yeah.
just a very easy way for me to work with a bunch of images right away and to
Yeah.
choose the
I
ones
always
that I
hear
will
that.
actually like post.
Yeah, I always hear that. I started to explore Lightroom, but it's different. And then I think, okay, it's easier for me to do it just in Photoshop. It's quicker, and it's also mainly because I'm working with one picture at a time. It's not that I'm working on the whole series. So sometimes I am, but it's mostly picture for picture. So.
Mm-hmm. So, guys, all of you who are watching us right now, thank you so much for being with us.
You?
If you have any questions still, you're welcome. Hi, Hugs. It's great to see you. Otherwise, it's been a seriously great interview. I enjoyed it, and I hope to maybe once meet you in person. That would be great.
Yeah.
Or maybe work
Really
together.
great. Yeah.
That would be great.
That would be great too.
Thank you so much for listening up until the very end of this episode. It was a privilege for me to be in your ears. If you liked this episode, please comment on it or shoot me a direct message on Instagram saying what was the one thing that you will take away from this particular interview. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe, like, and review the podcast on your app. It will mean the world to me to know what you think. Now, until next time, take care!